Live. And without further ado, let's get started. We are playing Traditional Explorer ranked as usual. We've made pretty good progress with Rakdos Midrange. I believe we are Diamond 1 at the moment. So I'm just one good win streak away. Just one good win streak away from being in Mythic, which would be pretty cool. Alright, waiting on our opponent. Did they immediately leave? You might be starting off with a non-game. That's fun. Looks like that is indeed what's happening. Alright, well, we're gonna hang out for a bit and then collect our free win, I guess. Alright, check my phone, nothing interesting is going on. Just waiting on my opponent. Oh, they eventually made a decision. We're going to keep this. We've got Thoughtseize, we've got 2 removal spells. So this hand is pretty good against aggro decks. It's less so great against like slower decks, but then we have the Annex to bail us out in case that happens. Alright, we get Thoughtseized first. And they take the Annex. But we're gonna Thoughtseize them right back. And they're gonna be a Ketramos deck. Well, I'll take the Trespasser. It repeatedly exiles and it has ward, so it's marginally more annoying. Let's play Pathway on black and a Blood Tithe Harvester. Obviously this will probably get Skyclaved, but that's fine. Gotta get those out of the way at some point. Alright. We can fire off another Thoughtseize while we still have the chance. You take another Skyclave or a Vanishing Verse. I think we take another Skyclave, just so that they don't have creatures. And then, honestly, I think we just torch that Skyclave, get our 2/2 Illusion, and tap land go. I might want to shock it in to use a blood to get rid of a Fatal Push. Alright, Lantern of the Lost. So that's just Graveyard Hate Ketramos stuff. It'll cycle to draw a card. We find more lands. That's not what we want to see. We need to see a card advantage engine and or a significant clock. Because eventually they're going to draw into their Ketramos. And I believe it's already going to be on. Yeah, so if they draw into their Ketramos, it'll be immediately active and we'll get obliterated. Alright, Graveyard Trespasser. Don't currently have Revolt, and that has Ward. Discard a card. I think we attack in, get our 2 damage. So if they blocked, it turns on Revolt. Now I can bargain his token, right? So I can bargain this to blow up that sacrifice my guy, discard an additional swamp. Don't really need 5th land. Blade of the Oni is decent. It's a threat, so we can start putting pressure on. I mean, it's just going to get Vanishing first, but what can you do? Gotta get through those at some point. Alright, they don't Vanishing versus the Blade. And they top deck the Ketramos. Did they scryed? Did they know that was coming, or did they just get lucky? So now they Vanishing versus my Blade, draw a card, and we're completely buried here. I think I denied them the card draw at least. But yeah, I mean, now Ketramos attacks, and once they draw like a card or two off of this Ketramos, I'm going to concede. I don't really have a good way back from this. Yeah, we just keep drawing lands. Alright. Sometimes you get got. You have Anoint with Affliction and Liliana and Extinction Event. And Invoke Despair deals with Ketramos. These are the sorts of matchups where Duresses and Thoughtseizes are kind of sus. Like, as we saw here, you get empty-handed real quick, and then you're just sort of sitting there awkwardly. Maybe take out Withering Torment for one more Thoughtseize, because obviously if we can snipe the Ketramos from their hand, that's great. But we're gonna run it like this. Have to win 2 games in a row, but that's definitely possible. One lander, and it's not great. 0 lander, lovely. Thank you, Magic the Gathering, for deciding that I've lost this game. We'll throw back the 2 Blood Tithe Harvesters. The Blade of the Oni is higher upside, because if I draw my NX, then this helps me out a lot more. And it probably doesn't, like, the point of toughness probably doesn't matter all that much. Overlord dodges Anoint, but it did whiff, so I've got that, at least. So we're going to hit with the Blade of the Oni, Liliana of the Veil. Yeah, I mean, we're not winning the game where we mull to 5 and they have Liliana.
Off you go.
If there were a draw, Shieldred after they've already down-ticked would be it. They're pausing during their upkeep, as if they had a removal spell, but they didn't. I think it automatically puts that pause in for you.
I'm tired.
We're going to get rid of 5th land, keep the Anoint for sniping a Ketramos. Alright, well, here we are. Go to combat, Shieldred, attack Liliana. If it works, it works. And we're done here. Yep, not beating Wandering Emperor plus Liliana. So Liliana can downtick to sacrifice my next thing as well. Wandering Emperor provides a steady supply of creatures. That game is super over. Pretty much just had to hope they had nothing there. Again, we mulled to 5, and then they had Liliana of the Veil, which is just devastating. It's not the sort of game you win. Also, I think that is a good matchup against us anyway. They're like a slightly greedier go big midrange deck, which is kind of rough. Alright, we have Bring to Light, up the Beanstalk, Sylvan Caryatid. God, it would be nice to have 2 discard spells. I think I take the Bring to Light. This does mean they get the Beanstalk. Or not. I'm very, very happy to take their Beanstalk as well. They can have the Cornucopia. That's fine. It's just gonna gain them some life and ramp them a bit, but our plan is for them to just not draw any relevant spells for the rest of the game, pretty much. So now we have to put on a clock before they draw out of this. And of course they top deck Bring to Light instantly. Just my luck. And which Niv Mizzet is that? That's the one that draws them a billion cards. Alright, they only get 3, but they're 3 good ones. And more importantly, like, they just have a 6/6 and we have very little. I guess Fatal Push is not doing a whole lot here. Keep the land drop. But I mean, they attack us for a bunch. So they're attacking us for like 6 a turn. They have Night of Autumn blow up the Annex. Abrupt Decay to blow up whatever else. Lightning Helix to kill a creature. Yeah. I don't think we can beat that. Like, I feel like we should have won that game. I mean, we at least should have had a chance. We took 2 great cards out of their hand, leaving them with absolutely nothing, and they just top-decked perfectly. It happens. Extinction Event. Invoke Despair is great. Fatal Push is terrible. Torch the Tower is useless. I guess we put in a Bank Buster. It's better than nothing. This doesn't... So we need to pressure them. Like, this is very much a game where we are the beatdown. The close 7 into Unkeepable 6. It's a classic, I guess. Do we take this and just try to get lucky? I mean, if we draw 2 running lands, it's Thoughtseize, Blade of the Oni, Unholy Annex, and then we're kind of cooking with gas. And realistically, how do we win this game from 5? I don't think we do. I think we're probably gonna keep this, and there's a very high chance we just don't draw lands and we instantly concede. Omnath, Leyline Binding, Deafening Clarion. It's gotta be the Leyline Binding, I think. Like, we need all of our stuff to happen to work. Alright, cool. We didn't draw a second land. Just, so far, getting completely ruined by just draw variants. Like, it's always kind of frustrating when you lose a bunch of games despite, you know, maybe not doing everything right, but certainly those losses were not primarily my fault. And also not primarily my opponent's fault, like, we just sort of didn't play Magic. Alright, this is fine. We've got a Duress into a removal spell, into a card advantage. Can't ask for much more than that. Maybe a creature or two. Alright, we're doing this. Skullcrack, Searing Blood. So I think Skullcrack is probably going to be the most impactful. It's between that and Searing Blood. I suppose I would need a demon to be gaining life, and this kills a demon. So I think that's going to be the highest impact card for them. So I'm just going to take it. They also have an Eidolon, which is worth noting. I think we filter through that swamp. Now, I am absolutely under no circumstances playing this Unholy Annex until I can find a way of gaining life off of it. And in fact, I might just Blood Tithe Harvester or Fear of Missing Out it. Yeah, I think my plan is I'm going to play Blood Tithe Harvester and use the blood to cycle away the Unholy Annex. Alright, a creature has eaten a burn spell. +2 life. Love to see it. Yeah, I mean, like, if we had a demon in hand and they didn't have 2 Skullcracks, maybe, we instantly draw the Mutavault. Always punished. We instantly draw the Mutavault, but also they have 2 Skullcracks, which makes it kind of sketchy even then. So now we try to turn the tables and just pressure them with Fear of Missing Outs. Skullcracks are player or planeswalker, so they're not going to be killing my Fear of Missing Outs with those. Eidolon of the Great Revel. I'll take 2, but that's fine. Super low impact that time around. Ugh, the lands. Well, let's keep up the pressure. We can untap both of our fears and get an additional combat phase. Opponent is dead on board, and they can't have lethal burn, I think. Yeah? Alright, cool. Alright. Is there any life gain in the sideboard? No, there is not. Well, Thoughtseize is awful. Withering Torment is awful. Unholy Annex is either unplayable or the best card in the matchup by a significant margin. I mean, what else do we bring in? Like, they have some creatures, so I guess Liliana is fine. I guess Reckoner Bankbuster for value. Anger the Gods as a sweeper. And Anoint with Affliction as a removal spell. Not super excited about the creature removal against them, but there are a couple creatures. There's Eidolons. There's probably Swift Spears in there. They probably just had like a hand that didn't have Monastery Swift Spears. Alright, this is an easy mulligan. This is a close keep. So if we can live to 4 mana, Sheoldred takes over the game. I think Reckoner Bankbuster is way too awkward. Clockwork Percussionist. When it dies, do a thing. Alright. Well, we are going to maybe Fatal Push that. I would kind of like for them to give me something scarier to Fatal Push, to not give them the value off of this. So this might be turning on Spectacle. I think that's fine though. I mean, they're going to have Spectacle at some point. I'm not stopping Skewer the Critics permanently. Yep. Alright, they had second land and Play with Fire anyway, so yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. It's just the one life that I took. I was hoping for them to play it out a second creature. I'm still going to Fatal Push this. And play a Fear of Missing Out. So there's a Skullcrack. That's fine-ish as far as things they can have. I'm playing this purely just because of the 3 toughness. Slightly harder to kill with Searing Blood. Dodges Play with Fire notably. So next turn is going to be Blackleaf Cliff's Fable. Turn after that, if we're still alive, we play Sheoldred and hope. Alright, just the Skullcrack getting their value. Well, I'm going to swing in for 2. Lightning Helix. And another Skewer. Alright, we are at 4. Again, Unholy Annex with no demons. So I think, again, we get rid of it. Let's play Sheoldred, so if they have 4 points of burn among that card and their top deck, then they win. Otherwise, I think I'm in great shape. And they concede. So yeah, Sheoldred would have put me to 6, which would be out of like Boros Charm range. And then still in double bolt range. But then the turn after that, we're out of that as well. And we managed to put a win on the board. I always feel lucky winning against those aggro decks. Like, if they'd had Light Up the Stage instead of double Skewer, I think we're in a whole different world. Where they just never run out of gas and obliterate me there. I mean, 4 is not a healthy life total against burn decks. Obviously, World's better than 3. World's worse than 5. Alright, waiting on another match. Alright, and we find one. Alright, this is decent. No 1 mana play, but good 2 and 3 mana plays, depending on the matchup. Alright, it's this nonsense again. Well, I feel like a significant part of my plan for this particular matchup is to just lose, so I don't know about that one. Fable. Okay, well, we have a good attack. And I think I blow up the Fable. Just in case their hand is bad and they were relying on that to smooth it out. and Niv-Mizzet Reborn. So if it doesn't hit very well... Alright, it only hit a single card. We can go for the throat and continue playing the game, but I don't know. I feel like we just can't win this matchup. It feels borderline impossible to me because they're just going to keep playing big 5-6 mana spells every turn. And my card quality is just not nearly good enough. And they're also not nearly low enough. Alright, we could trade with the Mutavault. Don't really want to Stone Rain myself. Alright, if there were a way to win, Unholy NX Mutavault might just be a big part of it. Or not, or they have the Leyline Binding, and everything I've ever done is a waste of time. We can still attack for 2, but we need some way of either getting rid of that Leyline Binding. Yeah, meanwhile they pillage the Bog, which is basically Demonic Tutor, but it's free because they plotted it. So they get an insanely good card out of their deck, and they get to play it. Alright, not beating a Tibalt. Oh, what a miserable matchup. Let's bring in those. Go for the throat, and Fatal Pushes seem bad. I guess go for the throat is like fine-ish. They aren't really one for tokens. Hitotsugu consumes all, it doesn't seem good. Let's just sideboard like this and try to be aggressive. But I assume we just probably O2 this matchup every time. It doesn't seem especially winnable. Alright, we're waiting for our opponent to sideboard. Because, of course, the thing that we need in this unwinnable matchup is for them to have even more relevant cards against us. That's fair and balanced. Alright. Alright, they have finished sideboarding, and we can begin the game. I'll play first, and mulligan twice. I guess we can keep this. It's like super embarrassing of a hand, but it is Blood Tithe Harvester into Annex into Mutavault. Blood Tithe Harvester into Annex plus Mutavault. That could be fun. Sylvan Caryatid doesn't block the Blood Tithe Harvester super well. So let's attack first. Then play a second Blood Tithe Harvester. And we can probably Blood Token away the Verge. I don't know. The colors are kind of sketchy right now. I have exactly one of each. Second O3. I think I will. Goodbye, Blazemire Verge. Hello, Blackleaf Cliffs. Yay, tap lands. Alright, let's attack for 6. See if they do any chumping. Or a fatal push. That's fine. So Unholy Annex. Another Mutavault, fire it up. Yes, I am aware it's going to be tapped. Alright, well, we are draining them. In 6 turns they die. No, of course, they have Vanishing Verse. What matchup is even good against this deck? Like, it seemed miserable with Is It Phoenix as well. Right, well, we're gonna duress you. See what happens. Notion Thief? Really? Really? What on earth? Okay, well, I'm gonna shock that in, fire up 2 Mutavaults, and I can't really do anything because, like, Fear of Missing Out draws a card, which doesn't draw a card and draws them a card instead. Blood Token is the same. So my entire deck is just debilitated at this point. Like, I guess Sheoldred gets me out of this. It's probably the only card. Thoughtseize isn't terrible. I guess we take Sunfall. I mean, it doesn't matter because they don't want a Sunfall right now, probably. So they are down to 6. And they can play a Yorion and prevent my attacks forever. Or they could Fatal Punch the Blood Tithe Harvester and prevent my attacks forever. While they're at it, they may as well do both. Okay, I'm not sure what the point of that was. Yep, and then we Fear of Missing Out and draw them a card, or we Blood Token and draw them a card, or Thoughtseize and accomplish nothing. Just completely impossible matchup. Like, I don't even know what sideboard cards you want for that. Like, I guess more low to the ground aggro. I don't know, is Embercleave legal in this format? We did get them to 6, but it's just like the reason we got them to 6 is because we weren't posing a significant threat to them, and they could just afford to let us through. If they had blocked Blood Tithe Harvesters with Sylvan Caryatids, they would be at like 12, which means we were nowhere close, basically. Alright, this hand is fantastic. And of course we're up against an aggro deck where it isn't nearly as good. Alright, we managed to get a hit on our duress, and a pretty good one at that. So Thoughtseize is terrible here. And they've already bushwhacked us. Well, I'm going to play a 3-2, which will block one of their things, at least. And they keep playing more. And a non-creature to prowess up both of their Swift Spears. I guess we'll block a Swift Spear since those have the potential to be a lot more. Ah, Withering Torment. Yes, the card that I want in this situation. I think I'm just dead here. That gives trample. This has 1 toughness. Yep, they found the line. Alright, so this is a creature aggro deck. So let's bring in all the creature removal. Thoughtseize is out. Withering Torment out. Duress is out. I mean, we got hit in a Tarka's command there. There's Kamanos, but seems unreliable. I guess. So between Thoughtseize and Duress, Thoughtseize actually hits cards in their deck. Duress whiffs probably most of the time. Is an average creature out of their deck going to be worth 2 life? I don't know. I'll just put a Duress in. It's a lot, you know, it might be a wasted mana, but at least it's not going to be an actively detrimental mana. Alright, this hand is pretty good. We don't have an immediate red source aside from Pathway, so we'll play Pathway on red first to hold up Torch the Tower on 1, which, knowing their deck, will probably be used. Yep, very, very happy to kill a Swift Spear. So then that is a black source. We play a Bloodtithe Harvester. So the downside is they're pretty good at getting through removal spells. They have Shaper Sanctuary. That's kind of scary, but boy, if we draw a Shieldred, that will be fun for us. Alright, I'm going to attack. If we can turn the situation around and put them on the defensive, they're way, way worse at that than I am. Might not work, but it's worth a shot. Burning Tree Emissary into Bushwhacker. I take 4 here. And Fatal Push is great. So that's 3. So we go for the Throat that, draw them a card. We Fatal Push that, draw them a card. And actually, hang on. Just instant land, and that's enchantment, so we can't get Delirium. So we're trying to just out-aggro them, honestly. Which seems unlikely to work, but it's worth a try. With Shaper Sanctuary in play and us not having a Shieldred, it's kind of mandatory. Was that the wrong Aloe Alchemist? I feel like that was the wrong Aloe Alchemist side. Well, they're holding back on defense. I think we do... No, actually I think... So if we draw an untapped land, this is a 5/5. Okay, Anger of the Gods is something. I should have Bloodtithe Harvestered the Alchemist. I think drawing a card is worthwhile here. Okay. They blow it up anyway. So that's not great, but it's like fine-ish. Channel Sokenzan. I have this Anger, which I would rather not use on a pair of 1/1s. I have this Liliana, which I guess
Something suspicious is going on.
is
For once, it's not my fault.
eating a 1/1 and gaining me a life. So that halves their clock, basically. They can't be seriously planning on just activating Ramanop Ruins. That's crazy. If they have nothing better to do.
I'll be back with friends.
Okay, just Aloe Alchemist. And I think I am happy to Anger here. Just get 4 power out of the way. And I think we hold land number 5 to Blood Token. Like, my most impactful cards are 4 or less. Pretty much all of my cards are 4 or less. The only 5 is... Oh, I can channel my own Sokenzan. Or I could Hidetsugu, blow up their Shaper Sanctuary. And that will become a creature eventually, I guess. I'm still at 11. I still have some time. Alright, the graveyards have been consumed. I'm going to play a tap land and channel Sokenzan and attack for 2. I think that's the point of the game that we're at this point. And they are activating Ramanop Ruins, it looks like. Yep, that's fine. Alright, we draw another brick. I'm going to hold on to this Blackleaf Cliffs. On the off chance I draw some sort of discard spell in the future, it'll be useful to have it in hand. And Vessel of the All-Consuming is a 3/3 trampler. Is this a demon? No, it's an Ogre Shaman. So they go to 1 here. And this becomes a 4/4. I'm not taking any chances with life loss. Let's just put a 6/6 in play. Okay, Atarka's Command puts us to 6. Second Atarka's Command? So they are going to have to kill me this turn through a 6/6 blocker. They have the Den, which is nowhere near enough. I guess they could have, like... I'm trying to think what they could have. But probably nothing. Alright, Atarka's Command, not quite enough. It's a good thing I did not play the other side of the Annex, and we win a game. Alright, let's run it back. I would love to have more life gain. I would love to draw a Shieldred, or have an Annex plus Mutavault set up. And not weird, awkward... That was a super awkward game from both of us, honestly. Like, with the World Shaper and all that. This is close. Like, as far as 2 spell hands, Anger is one of the ones you want to be in them. And Mutavault and Blade of the Oni are both pretty good. I think I just cannot keep a 2 spell hand. Alright, this hand is pretty good. Get rid of one Shieldred and an Extinction event. So we can go Blade, Annex, Shieldred, and hopefully that'll be enough. The fact that we add to mulligan to 5 is very bad, but we'll do what we can. Now, if they kill this Blade of the Oni, that is seriously bad for me. Second Unholy Annex. Please just don't kill the Blade of the Oni. Please just tap out for an Atarka's Command or something. Alright, Screaming Nemesis. If I ever deal damage to that, I basically just instantly lose the game. So that's fun. But I do get to gain some life back starting from now. I just need to find a way to beat the Screaming Nemesis. Oh, Destructive Revelry. That is terrible, and I die. So I'm at 2. And I can't get a demon in play or any other life gain, so I die to my own Annex. If I'd just drawn a land there, I could have at least gotten a Shieldred in, and then maybe, but yeah. Aggro matchups are very hard, especially when you don't get good hands. Alright, I mean, it's another freaking Yorion deck. I am so sick of these. We at least have turn 1 Duress and a couple Fear of Missing Outs. And of course they have the Niv Mizzet Reborn. I'm going to take Deafening Clarion. It's just a more efficient sweeper than Sunfall. So this is Fear of Missing Out number 1. Pitching a Torch the Tower. And it gets Vanishing Versed. Okay, we can Duress plus second Fear of Missing Out. Take the Sunfall. Play a creature. Discard Fatal Push, which is basically useless. Alright, we have Mutavault Unholy Annex. They're just adding Yorion to hand. Let's attack. Play the Annex and start draining them. This is a decent-ish aggressive start. Not exactly thrilling, but it's decent-ish. This Niv Mizzet is going to draw them a billion cards. Alright, what if you didn't have a Niv Mizzet? And I attacked you for 4, and then drained you for another 2? If we lose this game, I think we lose every game against this opponent forever. So there's the Knight of Autumn, which blows up my Unholy Annex. I can Fatal Push the Knight of Autumn and swing for 6. Alright, so we can blow that up while we have Revolt. How does Blade plus Reconfigure work? I don't think it'll do anything this turn. Plus I mistapped, so it's irrelevant. But we're just gonna fire up a couple of Mutavaults. So that will give me Delirium for Fear of Missing Out. And I have a Menace creature. I do have a menace creature. Is Bring to Light going to find them something that wrecks me here? If it's just like a big creature, I'm fine. If it's a sweeper, I have Mirror Vault at least. If it's something that both is a big creature and gains life, then I'm in trouble. Alright, what have they found? Lightning Helix. Puts them to 7. Alright, well, I'm going to put them to 2 and then play a Fable. Or get Leyline Binding and be sad. So now they're at 5, which means they're not dead next turn, and they also have a blocker. So, you know, I said earlier, if we lose this game, we lose every game against this deck forever, and I think we lose this game. Let's see what we find here. Takenuma. Is there anything good in here? No, because they exile everything. And that has lifelink. So, as always, we lose against Bring to Niv. Bring in some cards. But I am very close to the point where I just snap concede if I see a Yorion in the companion zone. Like, I actually think it's unbeatable. I guess we bring an Extinction Event. Alright, that's an easy mulligan. That's an easy mulligan. This is a good hand that's going to lose anyway. I think we need all of our spells here. Alright, well, we take Bring to Light. They're going to Fatal Push the fear of missing out, and then maybe Shield can get them. Thank you, Fear of Missing Out. Very cool. Turning my good land into a worse land. Alright, well, we have a Blade of the Oni in the meantime. Well, we attack with the Blade and then play Shieldred post-combat. And then they have a Vanishing Verse to kill the Shieldred and we concede. That is how this game goes 100% of the time. Or not. Alright, they have drawn a card. And they have played Elenda, which doesn't beat either of these. So Blade has Menace, Shieldred has Death Touch and 5 Toughness. I guess we are reconfiguring for Sunfall purposes. So they gain for a turn off of this. But they lose a lot a turn off of Shieldred. Alright, why are they waiting? So let's unattach the Blade of the Oni, try to put them to 1. So this gives us 2 attacking creatures when they inevitably have a removal spell. They don't, and they're dead? Alright, we did it. We won it. We won a game. We have not won a match, but we have won a game against the Yorion deck. Oh boy, cheap viewers, what fun. Banned. Alright, well this is pretty much the same recipe for success as last time. With an Unholy Annex in the middle, just for fun. So we lead on a Duress. Probably take... Bring to Light or Leyline Binding. I think we take Bring to Light and assume they're going to spend the Leyline Binding on a Fear of Missing Out or an Unholy Annex. That doesn't tap for red, but we have a red source anyway. Maybe Blood Crypt? Pretty likely to hit another land. And double Unholy Annex is kind of crazy. Alright, there's a Lenda. Let's play an Unholy Annex. We won't get to use it perfectly for a while, but it's at least something. Alright, there's Omnath. They gain 4 life. And now Alenda is huge and only going to be getting huger. So the question is, Shieldred or Annex plus Fire at Mutavault this turn? And I think the answer is Shieldred this turn. It at least makes them maybe consider attacking with Alenda or not. And it does keep me neutral on life. Right, Leyline Binding. They attack for 1 billion. So they play a land, this gets up to 30, so this becomes like a 9/9 or a 10/10. Oh, and it has Menace. Cool. That's fair. So we lose, as always. Yep. Fun Magic the Gathering gameplay where you... Like, the only way you can ever beat them is by aggroing them down, and the only way you can ever aggro them down is if they just have 0 removal spells. I need to find a deck that has a good matchup against that, and it's probably just Gruul aggro, Rakdos aggro. But... like, I feel like every deck I play just insta-loses if Yorion is in the companion zone. It's super brutal. I think I might actually be 0% against that deck with Rakdos. Right, this hand is fine. If it's against an aggro deck, we have a lot of blockers for them to get through. If it's against a control deck, we have a fair amount of pressure. Lead on Sulphur Springs, I guess. Doesn't really matter, but... I guess this probably loses me like a couple more points of life over the course of the game. Alright, Thoughtseize. It's a mirror match. I think we lead on Fear of Missing Out to get through these lands a bit more efficiently, and we do find an Unholy Annex. So that will be great. I think I want to just get that in play, even with no demons. I think even without a demon, the card draw is going to be useful enough. They have Mutavault and Fable. I have double Fatal Push to get rid of their 2 guys, and Blood Tithe Harvester to put on more pressure simultaneously. So I think I'm using 4 cards next turn. Second Unholy Annex is a bit unnerving. I do need to find a demon at some point, and the 6/6 is extremely sketch on that front, just because they have Fatal Pushes. Alright, they get rid of Thoughtseize Torch and play a Sheoldred. I'm gonna Withering Torment that, which I conveniently have. So I think I cycle the second Unholy Annex in hopes of finding a land. Sheoldred of my own is quite good. So the race is close. If they just fire up Mutavault, Thoughtseize here is painful. That Sheoldred was going to be hugely important to me. Let's see. I think we attack. This heavily pressures them to block. In fact, I think it forces it. If they don't block, I think they die to the second Harvester. So now they're at 5. We do find a Fatal Push, and we have Revolt currently. So let's do that while we have the opportunity. Fear of missing out, Goblin Shaman is lethal next turn. Although they are likely to have something. Yeah, so Fable makes a blocker. I would love to just find a removal spell and win. Alright, I don't find a removal spell, which means I don't win. However, I do have a pretty excellent attack. So I think they take 4 here, unless they have a Fatal Push. Alright, I'm going to use this opportunity. They've used a Fatal Push. I'm actually just going to play out both of these guys. So this is 2 lethal attackers, and I'm officially gaining life. Now what, opponent? You're at 3. I have multiple lethal threats. Yep, game's over. Alright, Mirror Match. Invoke Despair is good, it gets their enchantments. Anger is good, it gets their random little idiots. Liliana is good. Bankbuster is good. Discard spells are bad. So we could take Extinction Event. And, like, Extinction Event name even gets quite a lot of things. So that's probably worthwhile. And it's probably better than... Which of these cards seems the most sketch? Maybe a single Torch the Tower can go. Just sort of the least good removal spell, because Fatal Push can sometimes kill Sheoldreds. Torch the Tower never can. Alright. 5 lands. Alright, so this is good. We get... This is very much one of those, like, not exciting, but perfectly serviceable hands where you have 2 creatures, a removal spell, and a Mutavault. Yeah, and obviously, opponent didn't get the memo that taking Thoughtseizes out is good, so they're going to Thoughtseize me. So the reason you take Thoughtseizes out in this matchup is these matchups almost always come down to top decks. And if your hand is empty, your opponent's hand is empty, you're trying to get ahead on board, and you top deck a Duress or whatever, you're just completely cooked. Like, it does nothing. I think we get rid of an extra land, and we find an Unholy Annex. That's pretty great. Probably not going to play it next turn. Do we trade here? I think we trade here. It's just like a completely even trade, my 2-drop for your 2-drop. Duress take Unholy Annex is brutal. They are getting rewarded for their mistakes. We had our own Blade of the Oni as well. So yeah, now we are pretty much at the point where... I'm going to kill the Blade. We're pretty much at the point where we're top decking and opponent is going to need something better than Duresses. Alright. Well, Unstoppable Slasher is a great card. We can block it with the Blade. And then Withering Torment the backside and be through it. But it is pretty great for them. Like, Slasher is just a clean 2-for-1, pretty much always. Block these. And no other spells for the turn. We're going to Withering Torment, get rid of the Slasher permanently. Alright. Mutavault time. I think they probably have 2 lands in hand. Of course they top deck the Unholy Annex. Of course they do, because obviously their deck is full of discard spells. Why wouldn't they top deck perfectly? Alright, we're going to play a Harvester and attack for 2. At least offset the life gain from the Ritual Chamber, or Unholy Annex. Harvester gets pushed. They have their own Harvester. And Mutavault is going to fire up tapped and gain them some life and drain me some life. Alright. That'll do. So they've had their Annex longer, so they've drawn an additional card. I top deck a Sheoldred. If they have another stupid Thoughtseize here, I'm going to be so mad. Nope, just a bunch of creatures. Alright, this is potentially where we can start to take over the game with Sheoldred plus Unholy Annex. Alright, there's Sheoldred in play. And fire up Mutavault. I think we play a land here. So we gain our 4 life back. Unstoppable Slasher off the top again. I got a couple of those. So what, they can make a 5/5 menace creature with the blade. Oh, it hit me for like 10 this turn. That's brutal. Alright. Well, never let it be said that opponent doesn't have good top decks. I think we blood token away this fear of missing out. It seems... I guess actually it's probably going to just straight up cleanly draw me a card. And be a blocker for menace purposes. And we can probably blood token something else at some point. Meantime, we go to 1. Alright, so... we blood token away the Urborg, gain some life, play a land, play a FOMO, draw a card. It's another land. And we fire up the Mutavault and draw another card. It's another land. And I think we have died. So I guess we can double block the fear of missing out, take 1 billion damage, lose our Sheoldred. So we double block that, we take 5, then we take another 3, and then we take another 2, and we go to 1, and we have just a fear of missing out as our board. Doesn't seem likely to work. Opponent still has the Blade of the Oni, which means they can just attach it to something else in the future. Actually, double fire at Mutavault kills me, I think. I hope they don't see that. Gotta just hope our opponent is bad at the game, because it is our only out at this point. They are roping. They are roping. Maybe they DC'd and I'm going to win. That would be nice. Alright, opponent. Have you actually left, or are you being salty? Alright, well, we're going to sit here and wait. If they DC, I guess that's good for me. Still on their upkeep. Waiting, waiting. Sort of unfortunate for it to end this way, if this is indeed how it ends. Yeah, I guess they just DC'd. And we were dead on board. But, you know, this is why you stick it out. Sometimes they just DC when they have lethal. Opponent is going to be salty about that one. Let's run another game. Waiting for an opponent. waiting for an opponent. So the mirror match is like kind of fine. I don't know if the slashers are actually good in the mirror. Like we certainly didn't lose that game because our opponent had slasher. We would have lost if they hadn't DC'd because they had kind of crazy top decks, including like cards that I also have. Alright, this hand is great. Need to draw a couple lands, and then we just play running spells forever. I'll take their Unholy Annex. Don't like him having that. I think I play a Blade. They probably kill it. So yeah, they have that, and they have Sheoldred's Edict, so like it doesn't really matter. Both my first couple creatures are going to die anyway. They also have their own Thoughtseize. Taking the Fable. I think I run out on Holy Annex here. They're not putting enough of a threat for me to be super worried about 2 a turn for a while. I just kind of want to hit land drops. Alright, well, I guess we can duress the Sheoldred's Edict so the fear of missing out will stick. But I kind of want to hit a land drop. Yeah, so they just cast it for no value, rather than letting you take it. Doesn't make a difference. Get rid of Torch the Tower, find a Blood Tithe Harvester. Alright, we're missing land drops. Drawing 2 cards a turn. We did get a Go for the Throat for the Sheoldred, fortunately, or we'd be in a world of hurt. Still missing land drops. Duress doesn't do anything. I know their hand is a creature and a land. Of course, they draw the Fable. All right, give me a freaking break. What happened to drawing lands, huh? Go to discard spells. I've seen an absurd, preposterous number of cards this game. And only 3 lands. You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. I've been drawing 2 cards a turn for like 4 turns. And yet no 4th land in sight. And now it kind of has to be a Mutavault. So I'm going to play a Fear of Missing Out in case I can turn this Duress into a Mutavault, which would be better than... I mean, we're going to play out our spells, obviously. And we also need to find a demon at some point, not more Thoughtseizes. We need to find a demon so that we don't die to our own annexes. A 5th land would do the trick. Alright, 5th land. They are tapped out, so I can just do this. And let's bully them for a huge chunk of their life total. And now they're at 2. They're dead to demon. They have Reflection plus Blood Tithe Harvester combo, but I have multiple lethal attackers, so good luck. I also have another source of demons. Yeah, okay. So we ran over them there. Duress is out. Thoughtseize is out. Anger is in. Invoke Despair is in. Extinction Event is fine, I guess. Anoint with Affliction isn't super exciting. Reckoner Bankbuster is decent, I guess. And again, I think we're just going to cut one Torch to Tower, as it is probably the worst removal spell in the deck. So these mirror matchups are very, like, swingy in terms of how they go. You need to be able to be aggressive or defensive. I'll keep this. We've got a decent number of creatures. Right, top deck Anger is pretty good. Kind of hard to cast at the moment with the classic double Mutavault mana base. So I think the plan is to just run out creatures, have them remove our creatures, and then eventually we'll stick some sort of powerful, like a Shieldred, which hopefully they won't have removal spell for by that point, and it can single-handedly win the game. There's our own Mutavault. We also have a Demolition Field, which genuinely fixes my mana. Thank you. Now I have double black, double red, as opposed to having to pick between the two. Alright, so I think here I go double red, Fable, and then next turn we Shieldred. Or maybe actually we slow roll the Shieldred, and next turn we do Blood Tithe Harvester plus hold up Fatal Push or something. Alright. Double Blood Tithe Harvester is awkward. Fatal Push is, like, kinda good. Actually, I can cast double Blood Tithe Harvester off of the treasure. So I think we go Fatal Push Anger. And then we attack, get our treasure, trade our guys. It's tempting to go Shieldred here, but the odds they have a removal spell are pretty high. So let's just put a lot of power into play. Now, the downside to this line is they do get to draw discard. Reckless Stormseeker. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. Alright, they have their own Shieldred. Alright, we find a Fatal Push, which is, like, kind of awkward. So we can trigger Revolt, but this draws a card. So it's, like, kinda... Alright, so now we have Revolt. We kill the Shieldred. We take our 2. And so this turn, since we've used a bunch of mana dealing with a Shieldred, we just fire Mutavault and pressure their life total. So next turn we can Shieldred. We only have 2 black sources at the moment. Invoke Despair looking very castable. Alright, Withering Torment on a non-shielded creature. Love to see it. And I think we just attack for 6. If they don't block here, they literally die to an unanswered Shieldred. So do we want to kill their Reflection? Yeah, I think we do, actually. Just empty board, but I have a Shieldred. And they are drawing for turn, which means currently they have nothing, or at sorcery speed. Just a Reckless Stormseeker, does nothing against Shieldred. Kroxa does nothing against Shieldred. I'll discard Fatal Push, I guess. Alright. And I think we just Liliana, get rid of the Stormseeker, put them to 2, then they draw a card and die.
Taking the credit when we win.
Clean victory. We're back up to Diamond 1, where we have been hovering for a while. Just like a couple days. Alright, we got a card. I clicked through it too fast to see what it was. It probably wasn't anything exciting. Alright, let's just win a couple more games in a row and get to Mythic. So that I can put, like, Mythic Gamer in my title forever. Alright, speaking of Mythic, we are playing against one now. And hand's pretty good. Better against aggressive decks. Alright, we get Thoughtseized. Always happy to not mulligan when you see a turn 1 Thoughtseize. So they take Duress if they have second Thoughtseize. Otherwise they take Shieldred, I think. They take a Fatal Push randomly. What is bro cooking? Alright, no non-creatures, that makes sense. Right, well, you play your Blood Tithe Harvester, I'm going to play my Blood Tithe Harvester. And Mutavault on Holy Annex. Alright, and they force the Blood Tithe Harvester's trade. So I think I play my Blade of the Oni and hold up Fatal Push here. I would love to Stone Rain their Mutavault. They might just play their own Blade. In fact, they probably will. Alright, no, they are playing Fable. So are they just going to take... Are they just going to take the 2 for the NX? Alright, I think my cards are good. I did not hit a land. It's a bit awkward, but such is life. I'll hit you for 3 and play my own NX. Please don't Fatal Push me, bro. Alright, they're just cycling a blood. That's fine. They are losing life quite quickly. They're down to 9. I'm still at a comfy 20. And I have a Shieldred in hand. So they are going to be playing this Blade at some point and making their own Unholy Annex not as harmful. So the Annexes will cancel out. My Shieldred could potentially be the difference maker there. This is all assuming they actually do like play a Blade, which they do. Alright, they get a treasure. And they Thoughtseize me to take my Shieldred. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. For a moment, my eyes tricked me and I thought they took my Fatal Push, which would have been a bold decision. Let's play this second Unholy Annex that we top decked. That sounds fun. And Shocking a Blood Crypt to hold up Fatal Push. Also drawing two extra cards a turn, as they're only drawing one extra card a turn. So at this point, they need something pretty good. If they kill my Blade, I can just fire up the old... what's it called? The Ritual Chamber Demon. Alright, well, if they're gonna untap the Blade of the Oni, it's a demon. I'll kill it. So that this will force them to use Mutavault as a creature forever. And I'm going to say no blocks. I like my Blade of the Oni the way it is. Thank you very much. So what do they have now? They have a Shelly and a Fear, but they don't have a demon in play. So this Shelly just is neutral for them. I have a demon in play, so I guess I have the mana to duress. Take that. Play another Unholy Annex. So this is neutral for me. Withering Torment is great. Alright, they are at literally 1. Obviously up to 3 with Sheoldred. I'm so close, but it also kind of feels like this... Alright. In that case, I'm going to be taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm dead on board here. I'm dead to Reflection, copy Blood Tithe Harvester, kill Blade. Alright, I think I'm also dead to that. Oh, they have Fear of Missing Out to untap the Sheoldred. Yeah, I am giga dead. Alright. Well, same as always. Bring in these cards. Bring out Duresses and Thoughtseizes, and one Torch the Tower. This time we are down a game. We're going to have to win 2 games in a row here, which is certainly manageable. Hopefully my opponent keeps Duresses and Thoughtseizes in and top decks them late. Alright, Reckoner Bankbuster. It's a decent backup. It's perfectly acceptable backup card advantage engine. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. I take the Fable. They might take the Bankbuster. Alright, they take the Bankbuster. Alright, so I don't have any red mana, so that's a thing of note. They're classic, basic Swamp plus Mutavault plus Anger, Fable, Fear of Missing Out mana base. This mana base is so cursed. Like, surely there must be a better way of doing this. Alright, there's Unholy Annex. Alright, we get a tap land. Success. So we get to swing in for 2. Fatal Push their Mutavault if they fire it up. which I would love for them to fire up their Meteor Vault. They know about the Fatal Push, so they definitely shouldn't. Alright. Blade of the Oni. Also worthy of a Fatal Push. Go for the Throat, non-artifact, a little bit awkward. I think we Blood Tithe Harvester here. It threatens the most damage in the future. We hold up Go for the Throat to make their Unholy Annex hurt them again. Alright, you have that. I will let you attack. I'll take 4 and not block because I want to be attacking next turn. Alright, so there goes that. Oh, I guess they are smart and they left the fear of missing out back. So I can't just recklessly charge in with my Meteor Vault. Alright, so we do end up trading there. Fear of missing out, discard Anger, draw Sokenzan. Not incredible, but this does have Delirium. I do have a Blood. Channel Sokenzan might be good enough. I don't know. They're probably going to fire up the Meteor Vault this turn. They kind of have to. Otherwise, their Unholy Annex just puts them in so much trouble. They don't? Alright, they just take the damage. Alright, second Fear of missing out. And an Annex of my own. Alright. We start off with attacks. And untap. So they're going to bounce this first time. And second time they have to decide whether they want to trade or go to 2. Alright, are they doing something? Nope. Alright, so now I play out Unholy Annex and my Fear of missing out, which just draws me a card. Alright, Withering Torment, they lose 2 life. They are at literally 2. So they do have Meteor Vaults to gain life. And that's their plan for the turn, it seems. Plus a Go for the Throat. I have my own Meteor Vault, which will trade with their other Meteor Vault, I guess. Alright, now we're at the point where I'm in serious trouble. Simply because they've had an Unholy Annex on the field this entire time, and I haven't quite been able to kill them, so they're going to be gaining life. Yeah, and the fact that they don't have to trade off their Meteor Vaults there is pretty huge for them. And I think we lose this one. They're not even attacking, which they should be. If I get my own Unholy Annex, we're definitely back in this, but I think it has to be Unholy Annex or Shieldred top deck like this turn. do not have much time before they just completely overwhelm me and gain so much life back. Alright, another Mutavault is not going to do it, not even anywhere close. Opponent just like had the perfect... They just had the perfect setup where they had all the answers to all of my stuff, and you know, if they were a bit less lucky, we would have won that. They were at 2 at one point. And like, I don't know. I don't think I made any mistakes there. I think it's a top deck war and they top decked better. A single land double Mutavault. I have to mulligan this because of the colors. This is fine. I'll keep one Fable and lead on Duress. Alright, playing against Gandalf. Alright, take the unconditional counter that also does selection, because their hand is kind of terrible right now, and I would like for it to stay that way. Now I think Fable is probably going to be bait for the Spell Pierce. I think Unholy Annex is just so much better that I want to just be resolving Unholy Annex after Unholy Annex for the next 2 turns. Missing land drops is pretty terrible against control decks. But that's the situation we're in. We're drawing 2 extra cards a turn. Surely we won't miss land drops. Alright, land drops found. Alright. Well, the good news is we are certainly outvaluing them. The bad news is we have to not die to our own Unholy Annex. And we are taking 4 a turn, which is a lot. I would love to see a Mutavault. Greatness at any cost. Alright, I think I need to unlock Ritual Chamber. So this isn't a spell, they can't counter it. Alright, that's huge. And the fact that we get these triggers uninterrupted is enormous. I'm going to discard 2 Fatal Pushes. Seems not going to be super relevant against Gandalf. Alright, they just Portable Hole, take the Demon. That's fine. Frankly, we got our value out of it. Now let's play some creatures and force a Wrath. How many creatures forces a Wrath? Does Map Token force a Wrath better? Thoughtseize on top is pretty great. Alright, they are just Castle Ardenveiling, which is not going to keep up with double Unholy Annex, especially not when it's live. I also have a 5/3 Menace, which is a thing. A 5/3 Menace that I can untap. Yeah, I think they might actually be almost dead next turn. If I'd kept 1 creature removal spell, they would be dead next turn. They can double chump the blade once. Alright, they do have Portable Hole for the blade. So we are back to not having a demon. We are at 15 now. So let's play out some creatures. And Thoughtseize you. Alright, there's a Get Lost. That makes sense. So they do not currently have a Wrath in hand, which means I'm just going to play out to the board as much as possible. Alright, Mutavault solves the... well, it doesn't quite. It does now because they've tapped off of Field of Ruin. So now Mutavault can give me a demon for the next turn. Firing up Ritual Chamber would also do that. Alright, let's go to attacks first. And untap Blood Tithe Harvester. I think I will Fatal Push if they go to double block. Alright, get rid of one of your tokens so I can eat the other one in combat. And now you're at 4, which means dead to Mutavault? Oh, did I play a land accidentally without paying attention? Must have. Oh well. Still dead to Ritual Chamber. Alright, pretty good showing against Gandalf. So let's bring in the grindy stuff. Bring out the Fatal Pushes. Are they likely to have like mid-sized creatures? Not really. Withering Torment might hit something if they happen to have an enchantment. So let's see, if we take all of the single target removal out, what do we even have to bring in? Yeah, I mean, none of these cards really speak to me, I guess. Gosh, too many cuts, not enough bring-ins. I guess Withering Torment might hit a random enchantment, like a ley line or something. This is technically a creature. Anger the Gods can get rid of their silly Castle Ardenvale stuff. I don't know. They probably have some mid-size, like, large finisher creatures in there, but I don't know what exactly. Single land, have to mulligan, double land, pretty great. I think we keep the Bankbuster over the Fable. It's hard to say. And I think we take Biza Memory Deluge with our Thoughtseizes. They can have a Wrath. They can't have cheap card advantage. And we miss land drops. Lovely. I do love missing land drops against control decks. It's actually my hobby. And they bounce the Bankbuster. Well, I just have to replay it. Thoughtseizing now doesn't make sense when I'm so desperate to hit land drops. I would have caught a Wandering Emperor.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I'm legend.
Alright, land drop acquired. So we put out a Fable. This will help us get our next land drop.
Strike fast and strike hard.
No blocks. So if I draw another land, I can invoke Despair them, which seems pretty cool. With the treasure specifically. Alright. I don't draw another land. In that case, I think I kill the 3/3 and slap the Wandering Emperor. Or not. And Again, end the turn, hoping to draw an untapped land so I can invoke Despair and get him.
To me.
They fire at the anchorage. I guess that makes sense. Well, this is what I came here to do. Despair has been invoked. Now you have a Reckless Anchorage, which is concerning. It is very concerning. Kinda need a removal spell for that, or I just die to it. Unholy Annex, I guess Ritual Chamber is a flying blocker. And they can't Supreme Verdict plus fire up Restless Anchorage and attack. Oh, but they have March of Otherworldly Light. Yeah, okay. I can't believe I got aggroed out by the blue-white control deck. Let's run it back for game 3. We're on the play this time, which should make a huge difference. Yep, this is pretty good. Don't know what Anger of the Gods is doing exactly, but maybe it'll be doing something. I think we lead on Blood Tithe Harvester because I'm expecting them to have early removal. And I would like the Blade of the Oni to show up later if possible. Yep, as expected. Alright, now while they're tapped out, I play the Annex. Then next turn I can Blade plus Duress. They have a Get Lost. It's annoying. Let's Duress them and see what's up. Bunch of counter magic. Bunch of knockout blows. I think I just take the Supreme Verdict. Play another Blood Tithe Harvester. Play a Mutavault. So Blood Tithe Harvester attacking or blocking turns their knockout blows usable, but like they're going to be able to use them anyway, so I don't know that it's such a huge deal. Alright, they take the damage. Alright, no more lies. I'll play a Blade of the Oni. Thoughtseize you first. This should force movement of some kind. Grab Wandering Emperor, which they absolutely should have cast there. And I think we explore a couple times. Apparently draw a couple of lands. That's fine. They were going to kill the Blade of the Oni anyway. And now we attack for 6. Opponent can kill my creatures. They let one hit, which, I mean, this is allowed to target non-red creatures. Alright. Field of Ruin the Mutavault. I will use it in response to discard an extra land. And I'm probably going to do the same thing again. Technically I should have waited, because it's possible I would have drawn my last basic, which would have been awkward. Alright, give me a card advantage engine. Thoughtseize. Liliana. That's fun. So, Thoughtseize to clear the way. I can not Liliana around No More Lies, so I will take that. Play Liliana.
Something suspicious is going on.
And plus,
For once, it's not my fault.
I would love to -6 Liliana at some point here. It would be pretty cool.
Don't overthink things.
I assume they're just going to kill the Blade of the Oni at this point. Restless Anchorage is brutal. I'll play the Blade. And plus Liliana, they can attack it down
I'm tired
with the Restless Anchorage. So we are very much in a top deck war. I would love to be the first one to top deck something cool. The Restless Anchorage is making that less likely.
Don't overthink things.
They can't fire up the hall, right? They would need another land. So Liliana is still alive for this turn. I really hope I top deck something good.
Watch it.
Like a Sheoldred would be cool. A... what's it called? Unholy Annex would be cool. Duress is useless. Take it to Fairy, I guess. And then plus Liliana for no value.
Smarting me.
Well, here we are. Liliana dies. Liliana dies, and then we have to figure out what to do next.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
Portable hold to get rid of my Blade. Opponent has just been top decking better for the last couple of turns. Certainly not hurt by the map tokens. Alright, Withering Torment shuts down the Anchorage finally. Or the Hall if they fire that one up. Alright, so we blow up that. Alright, we find a Sheoldred, which pretty much is just going to trade with the Hall of Storm Giants in combat. Although they can't. Alright, now they can activate the Hall. And block. Alright. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is pretty good. They have nothing anymore. So we are now both just drawing cards. Thoughtseize is not it. Mutavault is fine. If this is a Wandering Emperor, I'll be quite sad. Of course it is. Of course they top deck a Wandering Emperor.
Confident? You're just underwhelming.
Alright, well I have a Mutavault, so now I'm the one with the creature land, which puts me in a decent situation. So the Wandering Emperor is going to trade herself in for a 2/2, and then
Must protect.
we're going to go back to top decking. Lands. That is Vigilance. Well, actually, I shouldn't have done this. I should have waited for another turn because Reflection can make me disposable Mutavaults. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So now they draw an additional card a turn. So I need to top deck not a freaking Blackcleave Cliffs.
Don't make another move.
Oh, it's just like, opponent has seen so many more cards than me and they still have less lands. Are you kidding me? Well, we are technically dealing with Teferi eventually. Wait, fear of missing out actually might straight up win me the game here. If I do this right. Alright. Attack face. Untap the reflection. Wait, no. I messed it up. Whatever. I'll put you to 8. And then try to not mess up the infinite damage combo next turn. You have to do it, like, during combat. This is... I should have won this game. Now I'm going to lose. There goes my Mutavault. Nothing to spend mana on this time. And no basics to thin. I still have the combo. If their 5 cards doesn't include any interaction, alright. Map token save me. Alright. Unholy Annex is a thing. Do I kill Teferi? So Teferi can -3 to mess with whatever I do anyway, so I guess I'll kill Teferi.
Let me know if you're up for round 2.
Play the Ridge, and then, I don't know, maybe they also drew a bunch of lands. Narset, coming just in time to be inconvenient, but actually I think Portable Hole is mana value 2 or less. That doesn't work. Reflection is 3. So they can take my treasure, but I can make a demon, give it haste, and unlock the other room. Alright, demon acquired. Make a copy with haste. Put you to 2. Oh, what a game. I messed up the combo. But eventually, after all of those millions of lands, I managed to top deck a castable spell, and I won the game on the spot. Alright, let's do another one. Shout out to the emotes, by the way. The new emotes are pretty cool. Alright. This is, like, fine, I guess. We've got 3 creatures. It's reasonably aggressive. They've mulliganed once. They're not a Yorion deck, so we have a non-0% chance of winning this game. So if they're like if they're a control deck, Double Blade into Shieldred might kill them. If they're an aggro deck, Double Blade Chump Block into Shieldred might stabilize. Just a decently flexible hand. Creatures are cool like that. Opponent is thinking. Hopefully they're thinking because their hand is borderline keepable. And they're taking a risk that's not going to pay off. Alright, tap land, go. Nothing to do on turn 1. Copperline Gorge. Well, let's play a Blade of the Oni. Instantly gains 2 life. Just as planned. Burning Tree Emissary into nothing. Burning Tree Emissary into nothing is what you want to see. So we're still at 20 and we're about to get shielded down. Alright, so they're plotting the Alchemist. That gives trample, so there's no point gaining one here. Alright, shielded time. I think the blade stays back just as a backup blocker. There's a good argument for attacking and trying to turn the corner. I don't think we're quite there yet. Screaming Nemesis. Really? Well, I'm going to take 3 and not deal damage to that. Alright, Monstrous Rage, you got me. I pretty much lose the game to that Monstrous Rage. Now Screaming Nemesis. I'm not gaining my life. So I think we just have to do the old double block and never gain life again, but alright, we're at 8. You can't gain life. Now we need to turn the corner quickly. And by turn the corner quickly, what I mean by that is draw a 1, 2, 3, an 8th land. 3 spells. I think I kept every spell I have was in my opening hand. Alright, I drew a Torch the Tower. I think we have to attack with the Mutavault here. Like, we can't just be sitting here doing literal nothing while our opponent does all this stuff. So we can torch the den when they fire it up. So we aren't literally dead, but I think there's no route to victory here. We needed to draw spells that game. So let's put spells in our deck for us to draw. Do they have lots of 0 and 1 mana stuff? Yeah, they have a couple. Bring it in, because it's probably going to be better than some of the stuff we're taking out. Duress can snipe, like, Monstrous Rages and play with fires, but that's not super exciting. I'll cut 2 Duress. We have 1 in. Okay, if we can take a Monstrous Rage and slow them down a little bit, great, but not going to bank on it. Alright, now this is a hand I like. Fatal Push, Torch the Tower, Shieldred. Have fun. Have fun getting through all of this. I'm not going to shock lands in if I can at all help it. I'm just going to play my tap lands and then untap and kill stuff. Shaper's Sanctuary, that checks out. Hopefully Shieldred can turn that into a bad thing for them. So is this Burning Tree Emissary into Bushwhacker? It is. I'm going to kill the Burning Tree Emissary, draw them a card, but significantly reduce the clock. Alright, I think we risk it for the biscuit and play the Unholy Annex here. It's kind of brutal, but we can fire up a Mutavault or a Shieldred next turn. And with a Shieldred in play, I want to just be drawing cards and gaining life. Alright, so with Shieldred, the Unholy Annex is neutral. And they're going to destroy it. Alright, so now the plan is simple. We untap with Shieldred. We cast a billion removal spells and draw them their entire deck, and then they die because I have a Shieldred in play. Or, obviously, they could remove the Shieldred and then I die. I'm not blocking here. My entire game plan revolves around me having a Shieldred. I'm just going to take 5. And I wonder what they shocked in for. Probably nothing good for me. Alright. They're killing my Shieldred in my upkeep? I guess? But why? Ah, opponents can't gain life this turn. That makes sense. Alright. Well, that happens. So I can anger, sweep their board, exile their thing, and attack them. And if I gain life with Shieldred, that's swell, but I'm kind of just trying to kill you. Alright, double Aloe Alchemist and Bushwhacker. I freaking died. Oh, that's so annoying. Actual literal only set of cards that wins them the game here. And the Atarka's command, like, literally, if you stack their deck in any other way except for the exact one that it was in, I win that game. That is incredibly frustrating. I suppose I could have stayed on defense and lived, but, I mean, you have to turn the corner against those decks. Like, you have to turn the corner against those decks, because otherwise they will just kill you eventually. They'll play a Screaming Nemesis or something, and then it'll all be over. Maybe my attack was too aggressive, but I think playing around Aloe Alchemist, Bushwhacker is just too unreasonable. Alright, they only have one non-creature spell, and I took it. So that's pretty cool. So, let's see. I need to play a red source. And torch the Emberheart Challenger. Because that can draw them more cards. More aggro opponents, by the way. Red-green again. This one's slightly different than the last one, looks like. This is closer to mono red with the green splash than the other one, which was like truly red-green. Ah, Withering Torment. Yes, that's a spell that I'm likely to cast and be happy about. Alright, can I afford to play an Unholy Annex? Not really. Can I afford not to play an Unholy Annex? Also not really. I kind of just need to draw the cards, and the only way I'm winning this game is if I luck into a Mutavault or a Demon. Alright, I didn't luck into a Mutavault or a Demon. So I'm going to lose this game. I guess maybe Withering Torment is technically even on life, targeting an Emberheart Challenger. And I guess I could live, play a land. So, yeah, and then I take 5 and I lose. So yeah, I literally just like needed to draw a demon that previous turn, and I didn't, so I lost because of it. Hitatsugu consumes all is great here. Thoughtseize is unplayable. Withering Torment, as you just saw, is literally 3 mana, accomplish nothing. What else do I bring out? Maybe Blood Tithe Harvesters and 1 Fear, and just be a control deck. Don't try to get fancy with it. Just kill all their stuff, turn the corner with Shieldred or Annex. I mean, the triple Mutavault is tempting. I'm going to say no. It just loves giving me like the perfect hand that's completely unkeepable. Alright, this is something. Bottom Fear, bottom of basic Swamp. And maybe, just maybe, this can do something. Seems unlikely though. Paw Patch what now? Alright, well I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm just going to play my 3-1 and then hope to draw a land. If I draw a land, I get Fable. If I don't draw a land, I do draw Duress. Reckless Rage is brutal. Monstrous Rage is also brutal, but slightly less so. So that gives +1/+1 in trample. It's super annoying that this gives a buff unrelated to the buff that the Monstrous Roll gives, so you have to count them separately, because this is actually +3/+1. It just doesn't. Oh, they top deck the Reckless Rage. Cool. Very fair. Very, very balanced. Experimental Frenzy, eh? That's a name I haven't heard in a while. Alright. And we're top decking 3 drops instead of lands, so we just lose this game automatically. Just like, my opponent always has the nut draw. I'm always lucky to draw a 3rd land. It's just, like, completely unreasonable how unlucky I am. Like, imagine if I had average variance. Like, I would be Mythic #1 by this point if I had average variance. Yep. They attack me down to 5. Finally draw a land. Way too little too late. Literally dead on board. Opponent is casting spells just to show off how much luckier they are than me. Yeah, I mean, if I drew my third land like 3 turns ago, this game is not even close. I win easily. But nope, you gotta keep the 2 lands and then draw only spells. Gotta keep the 4 lands and draw only lands. It's like, it's very frustrating. I am not asking to get lucky. I am asking to not get unlucky, and it just doesn't happen. Alright, this hand is good. We've got Duress, we've got Thoughtseize. We've got Urborg, which fixes Mutavault. Alright, we take their Annex. Their hand is better than mine, but not much I can do about that. See if they take the Thoughtseize to protect their Sheoldred, or they take a Fable. They take a Fable. Well, I'll take their Sheoldred. It's 1 must-answer threat dealt with. Like, 2 more to go. Right, they top deck the Thoughtseize to take my Fable. Which means now I have basically nothing. I guess I play a Black Cleave Cliffs. In case I top deck a Sheoldred. Just push that immediately. Does Takenuma get me anything? No, it does not. I suppose I could spin to win. I could spin to win the Takenuma and try to get lucky. But, I mean, we've just discussed how my luck functions, which is that it doesn't. I think the spin to win is probably going to be better than a 5th land. Alright, we find a spell at least. We're going to cast 2 creatures. And get a blood token, which is quite nice. So opponent has Fable plus Fear lined up, which is very scary for me. Although I do have blockers to make it not quite as good, he says, before instantly losing his blockers. Alright, now they just straight up have Reflection plus Fear. I do have a blood token, so I have 2 looks at a removal spell. Or a creature that can block it in combat. I guess that counts. Now if they top deck a Fatal Push, then I take like 1 billion damage. Alright, they top deck a land. And now we get to do this part where they attack and then hopefully they misclick like I have tended to do. No blocks. Alright. They know how to do the combo. So how much damage am I taking? Like 2 per mana they spend, so another like 6. And then I need to top deck and answer next turn, or I just die again. Also, they're drawing a card every time they do this. Although most of them are just going to be discarded. Please, opponent. Alright, they get to do it again. Or not. Nope, they do get to do it again. And they get one more attack for 4. No, they're leaving the reflection back for some reason. Okay, I don't think this actually gives them more damage than just attacking with the reflection. I don't know. I should be paying more attention to this, but whatever. The point here is that they top decked exactly what they needed to beat me, and I didn't, so once again, I have whatever is the opposite of streamer luck. Alright. Now they are struggling to work their brain cells to figure out that attacking for 2 is the same as attacking for 2. And now all of those guys go away. And rip. Alright, let's bring in our sideboard cards. And not that one. Alright, discard spells out. What did I bring in this time that I don't normally bring in? I'll cut both Torch the Towers. I don't know. These mirror matches are extra painful because you can't even say, oh, well, it's a bad matchup or whatever. No. It is just us playing the same deck, them making worse decisions but winning because I'm unlucky. Alright, opponent. It's the mirror match and the most popular matchup in the format. Surely you know the sideboarding for this one. Alright, they figured it out. This is keepable. I'm never going to draw a third land, so we're just going to have to brace ourselves for that. But I do have a lot of impactful cards. They can't Thoughtseize all of them. We're going to very strongly prefer playing on black for Invoke Despair reasons. And I think we just jam the Annex, get the cards flowing, figure out how to not die later. Anger of the Gods is not a 4th land, or a demon, or a castable spell. So they hit their 3rd land drop. Alright, 4th land achieved. Nothing castable yet. We're going to draw with the Annex. Alright, there's the Mutavault. That's great. We can also draw with the Bank Buster, unless we need to specifically Withering Torment. Which we do. No reason to go for the Throat. Say, use a more mana efficient play later. So I can fire at Mutavault. Wait, how did I click through that? So that might have been the worst click-through I've ever done. I could have attacked, but I didn't. I could have cast a second Unholy Annex, but I didn't. I just completely messed it up in every conceivable way. It's fine. We'll draw with Bankbuster. Hello! We are currently playing a Rakdos mirror, as you can see. I'm doing pretty good. I just made a rather silly mistake, but it shouldn't cost me too much. Alright. Now, do we go for damage and attack with the Mutavault? No, they have their own Mutavault, so that could go horribly for me. So we're just going to let the turn pass and have Go for the Throat available. And now we draw 2 cards and drain them for a bunch, or not. Well, let's draw a card with Bankbuster. My day has been going pretty well. Alright, there's a Shieldred. That's fantastic. Can get rid of a Shockland. Don't need that. So next turn we play Shieldred and really start pressuring them. That will also turn the Ritual Chambers into life neutral, which will be great. Fear of missing out. Discard a land, draw a card. And just fire up Mutavault and attack. Alright. Decent sign for me. Alright, if you're trying to sell me something, then you can leave. Otherwise, you're welcome to stick around, but lots of people come into my chat saying things vaguely similar to what you're saying now, and they normally don't have good intentions, so alright, get rid of another tap land. Now we have Shieldred. The race is very firmly in our favor. Until they can get rid of it, of course. Alright. There goes Shieldred. And I need to find another demon, I guess. Alright, they fire up the Mutavault. I will kill the Mutavault. Don't often get a chance to kill a creature land, so take it when I get it. And get hit for 2. Alright, I think we unlock Ritual Chamber here. And Go for the Throat the Reflection. Alright. That's certainly worrying. I'm dead now, right? Yeah. So I take 4 here to my own annexes, and then another 4 from their attack. Brutal. Alright, we are slipping down through Diamond Tier 2. Because our opponent, once again, by the way, drew no extra cards that game and had exactly what they needed at every turn. Meanwhile, we drew a bunch of extra cards and we're barely scraping to get by. Alright, this hand is pretty good against aggressive-ish decks. We can lead on a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Oh, I am so happy to take an Unstoppable Slasher. It's another mirror match. And this is going to be one of those both players sit around doing nothing until they top deck something games, which is bad for me because I'm not as lucky as my opponent, probably. Yep. Confirmed, not as lucky as my opponent. Play a tap land. And wait on my opponent. They have either 1 or 2 castable spells. They're just going to drop a Surveil land instead. I suppose that makes sense. They know about the Fatal Push. Well, I'm going to start playing Mutavaults. So if this really becomes a true staring contest, then Mutavault can be the difference breaker. I have 2 removal spells in my hand, so that's fun. Alright, there's the Fear of Missing Out. They discard a land to draw a card. That will blow up their Fear of Missing Out. And Thoughtseize them. You know, most of the damage dealt in this game to both players has been self-inflicted. So that's interesting. We get to actually do real damage this turn with our Mutavault. Alright, they draw another Blood Tithe Harvester, because of course they do. Well, I'm going to fire up a pair of Mutavaults and attack with a pair of Mutavaults. So you can block 1. It's obviously very good for you, but it does mean we are still at parity with me attacking with a Mutavault. Castle Lochthwain draw for turn main phase. That's a bold thing to do main phase, not gonna lie. Just completely tap out and take damage. Alright, they have 5th land and a Fatal Push for the Harvester. Oh, and a 2/3. Alright, we are once again back in a situation of needing to top deck something because my opponent had like exact draws, a couple exact draws in a row. They had 3 draws, one of which was a land, the other 2 were exactly what they needed to stop Blood Tithe Harvester plus Mutavault. Like, I actually just can never catch a break. Fear of Missing Out also straight up drawing them a card, by the way. And it attacks for 4 a turn, or 2 a turn if they want to leave it back on defense as well. Are you freaking kidding me? Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Another perfect top deck. And I'm dead to Sheoldred, plus Fear of Missing Out. And their last card was also a useful spell, because why wouldn't it be? Why would they ever draw a bad card in their deck full of Thoughtseizes and Duresses, which do nothing? Let's bring all those in, bring the Thoughtseizes and Duresses out, and the Torches out. waiting on them to sideboard. I sideboarded very quickly because I've played against this matchup like 5 times today alone. So I guess it makes sense for them to take longer. But I guess we are just here waiting. Alright, opponent. It's taken you over a minute. Surely you are running out of time on the maximum amount of sideboard time. And it's not a difficult sideboarding. It is not so difficult you have to spend a minute and a half on it. That's a minute and a half in addition to the time I took, which was relatively quick, obviously. Alright. This hand isn't great, but opponents probably kept their Thoughtseizes in, so I don't want to mulligan even like decent hands. Yep. As expected, opponent keeps Thoughtseizes in. Alright, Extinction Event is a decent one for them to not know about. I have Urborg, so I can play this on red to get a duel. Blood Tithe Harvester. I think I just play Fable. Not too worried about the Blood Tithe Harvester. I have this Anger of the Gods, which will clear it up eventually. Opponent is thinking. Do they want to attack or not? Apparently they want to play a Fable. Alright, I think I block here is tricky because the treasure could be very useful. And I think I do that, and I get super rewarded for it. So I get an Annex, plus fire at Mutavault. And unless they can answer this super quickly, they're going to be in very bad shape from here. I'd like to save the Anger if possible, but it's kind of risky with discard spells, so I'll take a 2-for-1 on the Anger if it's presented to me. If not, get Duressed, which is still a 1-for-1. Alright, no, they take the Fatal Push. Which I guess could mean Sheoldred. They shock in Blood Crypt, so is that a unknown Holy Annex of their own? Or a Fable? Or a post-combat Sheoldred? I bet it's going to be a post-combat Sheoldred. Nope, just post-combat Unholy Annex. Okay, let's see. How much damage can I do this turn? So I fire up the Mutavault. I don't have the mana to also channel Sokenzan. So I'll just swing for 2 there. They have a Fatal Push. Alright, they have a Fatal Push. That's very good. So now we are both looking for demons. I have Reflection plus Blood Tithe Harvester available next turn, which will be hugely valuable for me. Unless they remove it, of course, which they very well might. But because it's a possibility, I'm not going to be blocking here. This Anger is like basically just a backup plan for if things go wrong. Alright, things have gone wrong. It's Anger time. They have Virtue of Persistence. That card is not good. Alright. They let me get a little extra value out of my Anger. That's nice. Alright. Play a red source. Sweep the board. And I don't have a third red source, so I can't play this Blood Tithe Harvester, which would have been great. I can Anoint with Affliction, that's fun. What creatures are in Graveyard? Fear of Missing Out. Blood Tithe Harvester, Fear of Missing Out. So Virtue is certainly a real threat here. Looks like they're not going to go for it this turn. Alright, they have a Mutavault and an unlocked Ritual Chamber. I have an unlocked Ritual Chamber, but not a Mutavault, so that's fun. Alright. Tap land. Should have played the Blackleaf Cliffs, because it's always a tap land as opposed to this, which can sometimes not be. Oh, I draw more lands. If there were ever a game where I didn't draw statistically way more lands than my opponent on average should have, then I don't know what I would do with myself. 3, 6, 9 lands. 10 lands in 41 cards is like 50%, which is definitely above average. Opponent is thinking. I don't think... So if I block here... I think I say no blocks. Just because they're going to have a demon anyway. Oh, cool, Shieldred. That's fine. Yeah, sure. You can draw exactly 6 lands in 41 cards, while I draw 10 lands in 41 cards. That's fair and reasonable. I'm glad that we are playing a fair and reasonable game of Magic the Gathering. Well, this Blood Tithe Harvester... So this blood could find exactly Extinction Event, which would save me. Right. Go for the throat is not it. I'll kill the Shieldred. And then what? I gain 2 up to 4. I block the demon, block the harvester, take 2, take... Alright. Very, very cool opponent, drawing literally 5 less lands than me. Over exactly the same amount of cards. You know? Like, what am I supposed to do? The matchup is all about 1-for-1s. And getting the most value possible. And I just, like, basically started the game at -5. We're going to play one more match. This is fine. I mean, I have to draw 0 more lands for the rest of the game, but it's Blade into Annex. Spara's headquarters is not necessarily a heavy early interaction colors. Alright. Lotus Field. Because it's Lotus Field, we need to kill that. I'm surprised they gave us the opportunity. I'm very surprised they gave us the opportunity to kill that, but we need to do it. Alright. Discontinuity. They had the backup plan. Well, I top decked a Duress, so that's pretty cool. Oh, this is Lotus Field Control, not Lotus Field Combo. Okay. Well, let's see. I mean, all of these are great. Teferi, maybe? I don't know. Opponent's hand is full of juice. We can attack for a lot. They are probably dead next turn if they have nothing, but they do have something, so that's awkward. So there goes my Blade of the Oni. Second Lotus Field. Alright. Do we spend time killing the Wandering Emperor? I think we have to. I don't like it, but... And then I guess we play out the Fable. So they're down to 6. We have 2 Mutavault, which is not trivial for them to deal with. Yeah, and they concede. Alright, creature removal out. Invoke Despairs in. Damping Spheres in. Yeah, that's probably it, right? I mean, this is all creature removal, which isn't relevant. I guess Bankbuster is a thing, but not really. Alright, this is another decent hand. It's Duress into a reasonable clock. Alright, well, they're going to have Strict Proctor plus Lotus Field next turn, even if I kill this. Which I can't, so... No blood token for me, unfortunately. This is as, right? Not when. We're about to find out how Strict Proctor plus Blood Tithe Harvester works. Yeah, so as I expected. It's as it enters, so it's like not a triggered ability. This game is confusing, man. Alright, that's pretty good. We have an Urborg, so I think we can afford to do that. And I think we invoke Despair this turn with the treasure. So it would have been nice to do that pre-combat, but Dovin's Veto, of course. And they're Thespian staging a second Lotus Field. Alright, so this is the game we lose, where they have 9 mana in play, and they're still at 20. So let's fire up Mutavault, get in for 2, and if they have any spells at this point, we lose. We just need them to be like me and top deck lands forever. Naturally, they don't top deck lands forever because they aren't me, they're someone else. They correctly take the Mutavault, and the game is over, I think. I guess we can play on and hope that they never draw a relevant card again. Like, there's still opportunity for them to draw 5 lands in a row.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Alright, Invoke Despair is great, unless they have a counterspell. And they concede. That was lucky. We'll take those. Not falling out of Diamond 2 today. Alright, well, they conceded despite the fact that they were, like, probably still 60% to win that match. So that's just lucky, my opponent being bad. It's 4:58. I think we're going to call it there for the day. We have managed to play very well and lose a bunch of games. We started at Diamond 1, now we're just above Diamond 2. So I'll be back here Tuesday for more Magic the Gathering. If you're interested in Satisfactory, I'll be back here tomorrow. Make sure to follow me.